Okay, welcome to today's fabulous workshop with Karina Tsipora. Hope I did this correct. Karina is a somatic practitioner and holistic movement expert, and today we're going to talk about how to gain your competitive self-leadership advantage. I was very interested in hearing about this topic when we first spoke, and Karina was saying that, a lot of the times that when we're leaders in organizations, when we are a part of a team, then we have to actually step into this leadership role all of a sudden. And when pressure and stress mounts, how do we deal with this, and how can the body actually adjust? And that's really what we're going to talk about. And I know, Serena, you will explain it much better in much more detail, but just from a holistic perspective, I was really interested because so many times we feel under pressure in those kind of boredom situations. So how do we deal with this? So a little bit about Karina. As I said, she is a somatic practitioner, holistic movement expert, and also a manager at a wellness clinic. And she's got over 18 years of experience helping people reconnect with their bodies and cultivate presence, resilience, and alignment. And I know you've also been teaching movement and performance to guiding individuals through a whole body, whole person approach, which is exactly what we do inside the EmpowerMe Hub. It's about a whole human being and not just the career aspect, not just the well-being aspect. So we're bringing everything together under one. So again, amazing alignment here. So Karina, I'd like to welcome you onto the stage. You're going to take it away and we'll do a bit of a Q&A afterwards. And anyone who's watching the replay and has a question for Karina, please feel free, you just reach out to her and connect with her. Thank you, Karina.
Thank you very much, Sabine. And I have to say that I was drawn to the way you have set up the hub because I love that approach. And although today's talk as well and workshop is about the workplace, I think this is foundational work that we can take anywhere in our lives. And I personally use the same practices when I'm at work, when I'm at home, in my personal life. And it's just, yes, as you said, I also feel very aligned. I like that 360 approach.
Perfect. Okay.
Shall we start?
Yes, you can start.
Oops, let me come a little bit closer. Okay, so gain your competitive self-leadership advantage, how to regulate stress, speak up, and lead with confidence by mastering your nervous system. And I put the word master there very specifically and very intentionally. So let's just start. Why it matters to master our nervous system at work. And as I said already, I personally believe that this is such foundational work to understand our nervous system, to be able to work with how our physiology works, not only at work, but also at home, in our parenting, if we're parents, in everyday life, with our relationships. And it's something that I have found personally that it's very beneficial in all aspects of life. So it's just a few of my, let me move this down a bit. So a few of my reasons why I feel it's important to bring that work in the workplace is that we cannot really escape nerves. Whatever we do, there are times that we will feel nervous in certain situations, especially when it's a high-pressure environment, whether that's a meeting, and it's an interview, or it's an uncomfortable conversation that we need to have at the workplace. But what we can do with this work is to have the skill set to not let the nerves lead the way. With this groundwork, I also believe that we become trustworthy, we become reliable for other people, we become the go-to person to be asked for advice or to be asked to make bigger decisions in the workplace, because we bring that safety, the way that we lead ourselves in a high-pressure situation, and we are experienced this way by our colleagues, our peers, our managers. So we become the people that can rely on to stay steady in high-pressure situations, and that I feel it's an amazing advantage. We're also able to find our voice. So I don't know how many of the people that are going to be watching this have felt maybe at times that they weren't able to speak up in a specific situation, but we're able with this work and working through the body and the nervous system to find the confidence to speak up and to find our own voice. And again, it may be that we need to do it at first by holding on to the nerves and working through it. But with this sort of work and from personal experience and professional observations, I see that every day. So let's let's move on. If this sounds familiar, I can definitely, it sounds familiar to me. Absolutely, I have been there. So how many times have we felt that we've prepared very well, then we stand up in front of everybody to, I don't know, maybe do a presentation, and we forget everything. Or we start telling things like that, I'm just bad at presentations, I'm just not a natural, what can I do? And we create that negative loop, let's say, the negative belief about ourselves, that it is, I am just bad at it, I can't do this. Or another thing that happens is we stand up for the presentation or we go in the interview and we just talk really, really fast and we'll explain why all of this is happening in the body. And then we try to remember to say, oh, how did it go? We're asked afterwards, like, we can't remember a thing. So if that sounds familiar, just know that it's absolutely natural in the body and these things to happen. And we'll just explain why this can happen. It has nothing to do with our personality. We're not bad at something. It's not that we're not clever. It's not that our memory is not good. It is really just the physiology and how the nervous system works and gets activated in high pressure environments and situations. So there we are, how high pressure activates our nervous system. And it really is the same as it would have been with any real threat. So let's say we have a tiger jumping in the room. The same way that my body and my nervous system will activate when I see real threat, the same way my body and nervous system activates when I'm in a situation that I perceive to be high pressure, high stress. So let me just go to the next one. My body does not differentiate. That's a really good thing to remember. My body doesn't differentiate between a real and a perceived threat. The same way that it will activate to a real threat, it will do to a perceived threat. So it could be a meeting, it could be an email, it could be anything at all that will put me under stress, that my body will respond to it as it is a real threat. So it is not our mindset and it is not our personality. It is really just the physiology and how the nervous system is responding in the environment and the situation that I am in. So one way I really like to, an analogy I like to say about the nervous system is it is like a metal detector. So it is 24/7 metal detector that goes beep, 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 and it detects for safety or threat. And it is that simple at times. It works automatically. There is nothing I can do to stop it. And it's actually a good thing. So a lot of the times we feel that this is something that maybe we're doing wrong or that we should not feeling this way. But I want to tell you that it is absolutely a normal response of the body and that it is nothing that we're doing wrong. The body in every situation, it will continuously be switched on to detect whether we are in safety or whether we are under threat. And let's say we enter this meeting room and for whatever reason, there is so much subtle messaging that can be perceived by our bodies as threat. Maybe a subtle body language shift from someone that our rational brain does not register straight away, or even not at all. Maybe we don't ever become conscious about why our body has been activated in such a way, but it has perceived some sort of shift, some sort of situation that we see it as dangerous. So our body is going into a survival mode. And that is just, again, just physiology. What we want to be understanding is, and we'll go into this just now, we want to be understanding how the physiology works so that we don't see it as a fault in our personality or our mindset. So let's just have a look how physiology works. And it's things that would happen if we were under real threat, when we're in survival mode, same way it happens when we have a perceived threat. So what happens is that we start sweating. Why do we sweat? Because the odors can deter predators. Let's leave the trembling just for a second. Our breathing goes faster, and our heartbeat starts going faster as well. Why? Because we want to pump more blood into our systems. Because if there was an actual real tiger here, I need my muscles to be pumped with blood so I can fight or I can run away. And we're bracing muscles for danger. So we are doing this in our bodies. I don't know if you can see me, but everything just kind of braces, ready to either fight or run away. So we need that energy to rush into our bodies so that we're fast. And we need to happen before our rational brain is on board, because we need to act fast. That's why it happens before the rational brain, before our logic takes over. Imagine if we had an actual tiger here. If I had to think about it, I'd probably not survive in that moment. So my body has to move faster before my brain can catch up. Now, fast breathing, heartbeat pumps the blood. We have this bracing of the muscles. Other things that happen if I am not able, if I'm sitting in that meeting room and I feel that surge of nerves and that anxiety coming into my body, I have my muscles pumped with blood, but I cannot run or fight, then we may tremble. And it is also a normal thing to happen in the body. And we'll talk about how we're going to be working through all of that in the second part. So trembling can happen again. We don't want to be judging any of it. It's just a physiological reaction. There is nothing wrong with this. Other things that happen is that my body will prioritize my survival, whether that is in front of a tiger or a meeting room or an interview or an email. It does not matter. My body will shut down systems that I do not need in that moment, like the digestive system, like some functions in my brain. We don't remember sometimes what happened or how did the presentation go or did I say something that I wanted to say in that interview, not because we are not intelligent or because we don't have a good memory, but because the body works perfectly to keep us alive, to keep us in survival. So it will shut down systems that we don't need, no access to the brain, no long-term memory access there as well. And it will also stop saliva production. Our mouth gets dry. And just to recall one time that you have been in a situation that you feel a lot of pressure, you feel maybe anxious, the nerves are a little bit high, there is a lot of stress, and start connecting the dots, start feeling, yes, I had a dry mouth back then, or yes, I do feel that maybe I am trembling or I'm speaking too fast, and therefore it means that my heartbeat goes faster. So look at all of these things and start connecting the dots for yourself and how, because we want to start creating that awareness between the situation that is happening and how I start feeling in my body. There is this, it's called interoception. You may have heard it or not. It is our, I like to call it like the sixth sense that should be part of the other five. And it is our connection with our inner world, the sensations in our bodies, our inner landscape. So by creating that awareness with our body and feeling into all of these sensations, we are creating that interoceptive muscle. We make it stronger. So it's easier then to be able to be in a situation of high pressure where we are going to have our nervous system activated and then being able to work through all of the things that are happening within our body whilst at the same staying present in what we're doing, whether it's a meeting, an interview, or whatever it is. And one thing I didn't mention here, the bracing for the muscles for danger as well, with the locking jaw, it's again the same thing. We're preparing the body for fighting or running away. And the locking the jaw, it's very, very often that we hold on to a lot of tension and we are clenching our jaw. So things to just be mindful. Some things we have a tendency to do, and we may be doing them like the locking of the jaw, the bracing of the muscles. A lot of the times we might be doing them in other, like we might be holding on to that pattern even when we're not in a high pressure environment. So just things to come back to maybe and make notes and start being mindful of. So the nervous system, the four nervous system responses, you may have heard of them before: the fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. We're going to go into it, all of it individually. But it is the four ways that our bodies respond when we are in this kind of stress, high pressure environment or situation. We tend to have a specific, think of it as our nervous system is wired in a specific way. And it tends to have been wired since we're children, from our upbringing, our childhood conditioning, specific maybe situations that have happened to us during our lives. So we tend to have a specific response. And I'm saying this now because we're going to go through all of them. And as you listen to each one individually, look where maybe you are sitting on the spectrum. And it could be a little bit of this and a little bit of that. It could be that sometimes it's that and sometimes it's this. It's very, very nuanced and it's very personal. But as the body is like this metal detector, let's say, that absorbs the threat and responds in a way, it has these four different ways that it shows up. So let's go into it. Oh, sorry, before we go into the specific ones, I love this graph, the way it kind of shows it. I just wanted to share it. We have this window of tolerance with the green at the center. This is when we are overall in a safe environment. We feel safe within ourselves. We can exhale, relax. We can lean back a little bit. And then we have situations that puts us into activation of our nervous system. And it can be either hyperarousal in fight or flight. It can be hyperarousal in freeze or fawn. And I don't know if everybody is aware of all four of them. I'm sure the fight flight nowadays, everybody has heard about it. I hear a lot about the freeze. Maybe the fawn, sometimes it's a new thing for people. And it is fairly new in the science of it, as it's been added on to the other three that we find in nature, whereas the fawning is more of a social adaptation, let's say, for human beings. So if we can imagine in this graph, for example, that we have like a wave that goes up and goes down, we have the window of tolerance right at the center, and we are also able to dip into the fight flight and dip down into the freeze or fawn within our limits of tolerance. So it doesn't mean that as soon as we go in fight flight, everything is red, everything is bad, we're going to get stuck there. This whole work, this somatic work that I am bringing here and I'm suggesting is all about mastering the waves. So we are able to go in the fight fly, we're able to go down into the freeze fawn, but we don't get stuck in these states. And we are expanding as we go with this work, our window of tolerance. And one thing I want to say as well is that because of the wiring of our nervous system, we have the ability to rewire. We have what is called neuroplasticity, and we can rewire our system. However, whenever we are expanding we're going outside of our comfort zone and we're trying something new, we have our patterns coming back a little bit. So it's as if we are pushing our edges, and every time, let's say, I have my tendency to go into freeze. Every time I'm going to have the sensations in my body that say freeze, but I will have also the skill set now to move through it and be able to expand that window of tolerance. So let's go into each one separately. So the fight, let's look at the behaviors first and how it can express when people are stuck maybe in fight. So again, I said that we can have the wiring to be stuck in one, but we also need, right? If we actually had a real threat coming right now, we do want our system and our body to be able to activate fight or flight, so I can take myself out of a difficult or a dangerous situation. So there's nothing wrong with this. It's just to start realizing, having the awareness whether we are getting stuck in these states, and we see the patterns for ourselves. So behaviors for fight would be someone that is fairly aggressive. In a meeting room could be the loudest voice at times. Again, nuance, there is a lot of nuance in that. People that are quick to anger, they can be irritable. People that are stuck on the go and they're continuously needing to do something and move forwards. And may considered, again, nuanced, may considered extroverts, not always. Now, how I have found that this comes up and shows in the body is braced musculature. A lot of the times people have a lot of tension on the shoulders. It could be that is a continuous stress response that we are in the fight or flight. So the fight or flight together are, and I'll say that a little bit again later, are the sympathetic branch. Let's see, if the nervous system is a tree, we have the sympathetic branch that goes into fight flight. So we see a lot of tension up in the shoulders, braced musculature. Straight away, I go into clenched fists as soon as I say fight. We could have tension in the jaw again, as I said earlier. And we are ready to continuously move forwards. When we are stuck in this sort of state, so that we can understand whether we sit on all of this spectrum, we don't have the ability to rest very easily. So when we talk about resting or talk about doing nothing, as in sitting down without a television, without a phone, we start feeling agitated. We need to fill in the silence, the quietness with things to do. And it tends to be, again, from my movement kind of background, I see people that tend to prefer high intensity activities and wouldn't naturally go into something that is a little bit more slow paced. So that's fight. Let's look at flight. Flight. Behaviors first. Again, we are trying to avoid here. We want to run away from the danger. So it tends to be behaviors like feeling anxious, maybe worrying too much, being fearful, having panic. And in general, it's that kind of behavior that we want to avoid. Maybe conflict, we want to escape. And in the body, we see the body as being wired. There's a lot of energy that wants to move away. And these people, from my personal observations, are needing fast-paced activities. And this is, again, there is no judgment. It's actually absolutely normal. It's our body's intelligence to regulate itself. So when my body knows that it's stuck in a bit of a flight response, it will want to be doing activities that help that energy to move through the body. Whenever, again, it happens as this is the only one thing that I can do, we want to look at this as a pattern so that we can shift it. Because, as I said in the previous graph, we want to be able to move through and have the whole spectrum of our nervous system flexibly working and not just stuck on one side or the other. Freeze. freeze response, and there is also what we call functional freeze. So again, these are there is so much nuance to it. There's so much individualization that we need to look at. But overall, when we look at freeze, we think feeling stuck, being immobilized, so there is no movement. With fight, there is movement towards the danger. With flight, it's movement away from the danger, whereas with freeze, there is no capacity for movement, and we feel immobilized. And this can be like the one end of the spectrum, and there are behaviors that could be connected to freeze, but be a little bit lighter, as in the expression of it. And the functional freeze is, for example, someone is moving, is working, let's say is a parent, and do all of the things that need doing, and they're cooking and they're taking care of the kids and they're going to work. They do all of the things, but within them there is this sense of feeling stuck, of not really understanding why, but not being able to move forwards with decision making. With they may be having problems with procrastination. That's usually one of the main expressions of functional freeze, or perfectionism, because perfectionism also leads to procrastination. If I'm waiting for something to be perfect before I do it, I never really do it, so I always procrastinate. So that can be connected to a freeze response. Now, freeze comes to our we get into a freeze state when we have tried to fight or flight and it didn't work. So any fight or flight that has been unsuccessful can take us into a freeze response, and then the body feels like collapsed. It feels heavier, and these people tend to prefer slow-paced activities. They are attracted to meditation, for example. And although we think of meditation as a good thing, if we are doing it to dissociate from ourselves, if we're doing it to space out, we are rewiring freeze response in the system. So again, the body does not differentiate what is good for it and what is actually functional. And that's why I'm saying mastering the nervous system, so we are able to move through the whole spectrum, rather than thinking that always calm is good, or always meditation is good, or doing a slow yoga is good. It is good, but it also depends where we are on the spectrum of the nervous system. And phoning, the last one, is also on the blues, as we saw in the graph. So I had the green fire at the top with a fight flight, frozen blue down with a freeze and fawn. The fawn was coined a little bit later on. We don't really, it's more of a people-pleasing behavior that we see in humans. In nature, we won't see a little deer after trying to people-please the predator. So it is something that we have figured out eventually for our survival, and this is the people-pleasing, to be hypervigilant. These people tend to absorb all the nuances and all the subtle body language in the room, and they will stay hypervigilant to make sure that everybody's happy, prioritizing everybody else. In its extremes, it's so much so that they lose sense of self. Small things like someone asks, where shall we go out for dinner? And we say, you choose. Even in these small ways, that inability to take initiative or to make a decision, it can be triggering for an individual that lives stuck in phone, because it threatens their survival. And that survival is within the social aspect of it, right? So within a community, within our society, we want to fit in. We don't want to stand out too much. We don't want to be the outsiders. So for us to be able to, and that's part of the brain as well, our mammalian brain, the part of that we feel safe when we blend in. And therefore, when this happens as a pattern wired in the nervous system, we lose our individuality. We have difficulty saying no, difficulty setting boundaries, and the body looks what I call undefined and neglected in a sense. There is that maybe sense of letting go, that people don't necessarily take care maybe of their bodies. And again, overgeneralizing here, it can be so many. We need to keep reminding ourselves that we need to look at the specific in each individual, and prefers what everybody else wants to do. So after looking at all of these, I would love for you to have a little go and think. Maybe you can write things down, put yourself in a situation where you felt the pressure, you felt stressed, and see in your and see what your go-to, what your wiring in your nervous system is. What you can do actually is take 24 hours, like for one day, become aware of all the little things, even the things that you don't feel like they matter, as in, as I said, like, where shall we go? Oh, you choose. Things like that. Just you could write them down and then see where is the thread that goes through. What is the one that connects your behaviors with how it could be, what expression, what wiring could be in your nervous system. So that's a little homework, if you like. And how do we navigate all of this? That is the whole point of this workshop, to figure out how to move through it. And there's a hint, it is not willpower. I can guarantee you, excuse me, that you're not lacking discipline, and that it's something that you can train for yourself and something that you can learn to navigate and move through masterfully. So let's have a look. Regulation, of course, and somatic practices. So let's look at the sympathetic branch, as I said, the fight and flight, move toward threat or move away from threat, and what we can do. These suggestions here are when we are in the moment of the meeting, the interview, the presentation, where we need to do something to bring ourselves back to our greens, our window of tolerance, while, without being subtle and doing something that we can do discreetly. So we said the activation of the nervous system brings us all of the physiological responses there that we looked at a little bit earlier. So what happens is that you may have dry mouth. Super simple. You can drink some water. As soon as we hydrate a little bit the mouth, we send the signal back to the body that I am safe here. I don't need to stress. The body starts shifting from the activation to the down regulation. So from the fight and flight, we are down regulating into our greens. So water, for example, we can, instead of bracing, we can check in. Am I holding up my shoulders, for example? Am I clenching my jaw? And then we can intentionally relax the shoulders and relax the jaw. Now, the jaw anatomically needs to just sit comfortably down. So it does create space between the teeth, upper and lower teeth. So have a little look, have a sense whether you are holding tension and you're clenching your jaw, and feel and relax that. So you want to feel the space in between, and your tongue anatomically sits in the upper palate. And that relaxes the jaw, relaxes the neck, relaxes the shoulders. So if you have tension in your shoulders, aches and pains in the neck, there's one thing you can check to see if you are without unconsciously holding tension here. So back in the meeting room, we do that intentionally. We relax the shoulders, we relax the jaw. Now, what happens is that we have this fight, flight, this sympathetic charge. Think of it as a battery. Our body is the battery, and there is danger outside, and my battery gets charged up to its fullest and even more with energy. It is the fight, flight, that kind of charge that comes into the body, and we can feel it, right? We get flushed cheeks and we feel the trembling. All of this is the body's physiological response. And when we are in actual danger, we're going to use that energy. So we're going to use the charge of the battery, and we're either going to fight or flight. We are in the meeting room and we cannot, there's nobody to fight really, and there's nowhere we can go. What do we do with this energy that is the charge that is coming into our body? We need to discharge it a little bit so our battery goes back into a normal state of energy. So we need to maybe squeeze a little bit the fists, depending where. If we're sitting, we can have it underneath the desk. If we're standing up giving a presentation, we could just clasp our hands and like pull a little bit away from one another. We're again discharging that fight flight energy from the body, and we are sending the signal to our body to start down regulating. We need, though, one other thing that happens very often is that the advice sometimes that we're given is to, I don't know, just take a breath, just relax. But we do have all of this charge that has happened for a reason in the body that we need first to discharge. So think of it, fight, flight, charge. First, I need to move it. Push the feet on the floor, create a little bit of tension in the body. So allow the body to move that energy in some way. And then we can take a deeper breath. And I'll go into the breath in a moment. And the other thing is that we said in the physiological responses, we have the pupils dilating, and we narrow our focus just because we really have to focus on what's in front of us because there is a danger. Now we can signal again to the body that I'm in no danger as I open my peripheral vision. And I'm able to look a little bit beyond that. As soon as I lean a little bit back, open my peripheral vision, relax my shoulders, relax the jaw, drink some water, discharge this fight-flight energy that comes in, then, and I'll just jump up, I'll just jump to, and then I breathe. I'll come to that in a second. And then we do want to have, I'll talk about a little bit quickly, the diaphragmatic breath. We do want to come to a deeper breath. That is also signaling to the body to go into parasympathetic. And this is our green in the graph, our window of tolerance, and signals safety in the body. So that was the fight flight. So if we look at the freeze and fawn, and then again, as I said, it's all conditioned in our bodies from a really young age. Nothing's right or wrong about it. It is how it is. And we are faced today with this nervous system wiring. So the freeze wants us to immobilize, or the fawning is our inability to make decisions and our disconnection from what it means. How can I say it? Disconnection from self, from how it feels to be me. So I usually am not important, right? Everything else is. Now, with a freeze, we want, if we are again in the meeting room or an interview, we want to very gently move. And we can do that very discreetly. If we're sitting down, we can gently move our legs maybe a little bit to the right and left. We can maybe a little bit move our body to the right and left, and we can do it as if we're changing maybe our position. So we can do it really subtly, really discreetly. If we're standing up, giving a talk or a presentation, I've actually seen that happen. And again, I said that the body knows exactly what it needs to regulate itself. So sometimes we do these things without even realizing. But when we when we do it intentionally, it makes a lot more sense to the body, because we're also bringing the awareness with it. So you could potentially gently sway as you're standing up. You could potentially just change your position, make a little step forwards. And again, we're signaling to the body that I don't need to feel stuck right now. I can move. I am safe to move. And subtle things like that actually do really work. We can wiggle our toes in our shoes. You can touch your hand. Again, you could be standing up and just placing your hands together, giving yourself a little squeeze. Again, you are just creating that sensation for the body that I am present, I'm here, I am important. If you're in phoning response, you could squeeze, if you're sitting down underneath the desk, you can squeeze a little bit your thigh. Again, just signaling your body, I'm here, I'm safe, it's safe to move. And last thing is to turn our head right and left. And again, this is for freezing, that we can just turn to the right and take other things in from the room that we're in. Again, we're opening our peripheral vision, but we're also moving the head, and we're signaling to our bodies that it is safe to move. I don't need to be stuck. I can move. So, and again, the freeze at the fawn is a little bit different than the fight and flight. We still have this charge in the body, but because we haven't learned how to work with it, we have dropped into the freeze and the fawning. So it is, in a sense, a parasympathetic, but not the green tolerance, the rest and restore state. It is a step too far, let's say, into the parasympathetic branch. And we still have suppressed. We have suppressed all of the reds, all of the fight and flight charge that I said the battery was over full, so that we can be quick and have the strength to fight or flight. We have suppressed all of this energy into the system, so much so that we got stuck. And we have again all of this charge, but suppressed in our system. So we still need to mobilize. We still need to move it a little bit before we say and breathe. So and breathe goes for both. The breathing is so powerful and so important. However, I personally believe that first we've got to somatically move the energy, somatically move the body, depending on where we are in the nervous system response, and do the breath work afterwards when we're activated. When we go straight into the breathing, and I know it's such an easy advice, just take a deep breath. But sometimes, depending on how activated we are, it could have the opposite effect. I have personal experience. I have observed it. I have observed this to happen, that it actually brings more anxiety into the body. And again, it could create that loop that, oh, it doesn't work for me, I'm doing it wrong, maybe I don't know how to do it. Or sometimes we're given a very specific technique. And I know this technique, and it works for sure, but not always. For example, I don't know if you know it, the 4-4-4-4, the box breathing, that it's been given for anxiety, but it's like a technique where you hold your breath. Sometimes for people, when they're very activated, to hold their breath brings more anxiety. So what I suggest we learn as our foundational most simple breath is our diaphragmatic. It's our default breathing. And I want to give you a new way of looking at a deeper breath. Just very simple. So most people will say, breathe in and breathe deep, take a deep breath into your abdomen and feel your belly rising, which is absolutely fine, fantastic. But I want us to feel a little bit more into our diaphragm. So the diaphragm is attached, it's like a trampoline. Let's think about it, like a trampoline attached at the lower rib cage. So if you can actually right now take your hands and feel the last set of ribs, and think that across your abdomen there, you've got the diaphragm. When we're going to take one deep breath, but I want you to think as if you have a balloon right there at the center of your rib cage. And as you inhale, the balloon expands, and it expands three-dimensionally. So it's not only that the belly is expanding forwards, but if you have your hands like here, right at the bottom of your rib cage, you can feel your rib cage expanding laterally, sideways. So let's just take a nice deep breath here like that. Feel how the rib cage swings open, and then exhale comes back to center. And it may be that for some people that's easy. It may be that if we are shallow breathing, a lot of the time, that our diaphragm has lost a little bit of its strength, and it takes a little bit more time to start feeling that expansion. But this can be something that we can practice. So in the moment, the deeper breath, this diaphragmatic breathing down into the diaphragm, expanding the rib cage, can help us again switch on our parasympathetic green window of tolerance. For us to be able to use that in the moment, we need to practice a little bit. What I suggest personally, and that's what I do as well, we do 2 minutes a day. 2 minutes a day of conscious, intentional diaphragmatic breathing, actually setting a timer, just doing this 2 minutes until it becomes our default way of breathing, which it should be anatomically. This is how it's designed to be doing it. And we only need 2 minutes to just start rewiring and retraining our body to breathe in this way. I'm a little bit over time, I think, but we're nearly done. So last little thing. So we said how we can do it discreetly in the moment, wherever we are. And that could be the workplace, the meeting, the interview. It could be an uncomfortable conversation with a family member, and I can't move away from it. So I can regulate myself in the moment. It can be at any other situation in life that my body feels activated in this way. And then again, once we're back into safety, we do want to be doing intentionally, restoring intentionally our systems, but also practicing if we are, for example, one little thing for all of them. If we know, and after this workshop we figured out I am stuck in fight, what I can do is I can do pretend boxing. And that allows this overcharge that has chronically stayed in my body to be released, to be discharged. And I do my breath work and I start finding my balance and learning how to ride the waves, how to activate my fight, to use it for when I need it, but also how to come back to a rest and restore state, the green window. The flight, run on the spot. Again, this wire energy that is in the body that wants you to move away and you want to escape everything, we practice it as running. You could actually go and run. You can run on the spot. If you're in a situation where you can take yourself away and actually do that, that's very helpful. And the breath work. And then when we are in freeze, we want to move. Whenever we feel maybe that we are procrastinating a little bit too much, or we are kind of collapsing or feeling quite heavy, and we would say, I don't have the discipline or I don't have the motivation to move. Maybe we come to the body and we move the body. We sway the right and left. That creates safety in the body, that it's safe to move. When we are in a fawn response, we can just stomp. Stomp to create, to be present here in the moment, to awaken the body in the sense that I'm not in my mind worrying about what other people are going to say, but I come here and I stomp my feet and I affirm to my body in this way. I send a message to my body that I am also important. And the other four underneath, shaking is always great to just shake it off. You can take a deep breath, then just shake it all off. When we exhale out through the mouth, we are releasing again that excess charge in the body. We know that when we are going for a run, for example, we can't catch our breath. what the body is trying to do by exhaling out through the mouth is to release this excess heat that we have created in the body. Same happens with the nervous system. So shaking exhale through the mouth, touch and squeeze our own body. It again brings us to this present moment, and then rest. How many of us actually don't know how to rest, find it difficult to switch off, or we rest whilst we're maybe watching television, we're on a screen, or with a book? Again, it's still information that is coming into the body. So I would personally suggest 5 minutes of intentional rest a day before we sleep, and without any other stimuli that is that has to be absorbed. So we learn this way to go through the day. Naturally, we're in a more of a sympathetic way, green sympathetic, that creates movement, that we feel awake. But then again, how can we come back and reset our body and restore, especially after a stressful day, especially after instances and situations like that we have been talking about today. And last little thing, just to recap the steps we have, we want to bring the awareness first, interoception, as I mentioned. We want to create that dialogue with the body, with the sensations in our bodies. We know when we're hungry because of our stomachs making sounds. We want the same way to become aware of how our nervous system gets activated, so that we are able to bring that up into our awareness, and then we have the skill set how to move through it. Super important to not judge any of it. It's not your personality, it's not your mindset, not your willpower that is at fault. It's just physiology, and it's all trainable, rewirable skill set. So we regulate in the moment, we practice. So we become second nature. One, I call it mastery. It's this interoceptive muscle with the regulation and the moving through life in this somatic kind of way brings us to mastery of our nervous system. Then things just happen a little bit easier. We don't have to think about it. The body knows how to regulate, and we're just there understanding it and supporting it in that. And last, reminder, if you take anything out from this workshop today, is that it is not your lack of discipline, it is not a fault in your mindset, not your personality. You cannot outsmart, outthink, outpower, out-discipline a physiological response of the body that's absolutely normal to happen. We want it to happen. It's healthy to happen. When we get stuck in it, we want to figure out our way. So with no judgment, awareness and practice, we can find the mastery. And that is it. That is me. I don't know if we have any questions.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. I was very, very relaxed just now. Oh, wow. Thank you. That's been so thorough, and I really appreciate you going into so much detail and depth and showing some of the exercises as well. And I thought it's just me, right? When I'm facing some sort of challenge or something's gone wrong, like you feel it in your body. And I'm so glad that you said, well, this is normal. It is the fight or the flight. Maybe you could just give another explanation quickly about when do I know I'm in the fight? So am I fighting something, I guess? And when I'm in flight, then I'm sort of fleeing. I want to leave that situation. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. The fight and flight are different, but are in the same kind of category, let's say. So they are activating your system in that kind of sympathetic response. So it is a lot of charge in the body, and then it depends on how you specifically or anybody will behave. And this is where we get a little bit confused and we think, oh, it's just me. Because it is the behavior that gives us the message back to say, okay, I am in fight mode. So the fight would be more of the aggressive, more of the continuously going and going at it, whereas the flight has more of an anxious energy and moving away. And you could be playing between the two in some situations or others.
Yeah. And it's so important. Can we regulate our nervous system? Like, can we train it so that it's not going to spike every time something small happens or something goes wrong?
Yes. Yes, we can. And especially when it's like the everyday things. Let's say, for example, I've got kids, right? When they were born, they're a bit older now, but when they were younger, every little thing would stress me out. I rewired my nervous system so that I don't feel this way anymore. And we can, there is neuroplasticity, we can rewire and retrain everything in our body, actually. So we can, with the practices, in the moment, what I call the firefighting, when I'm in the moment, when I'm in the meeting room, and then the practice when I'm outside and I'm practicing all of the things. So with those two, we are able to be, how can I say, we are quicker to figure out what is happening in the body. So as soon as I, let's say, feel my mouth is dry, I know that I am getting in an activated state, and I'm able to move quicker than I would before. And this way, every time, it's like gathering evidence. Every time I have dealt with it well, and I'm able to move through whatever I feel and have the capacity to deal with it in a masterful way, I collect evidence, and the next time it's better and better and better. At the same time, the wiring of the system is also, if we are, let's say I was personally in a functional freeze most of my life, right? I have expanded my capacity, my window of tolerance a lot. Every time I'm going to go into something new, I will feel again that kind of freeze response coming. We are more aware now, we're more able to move along with what is happening. But again, it will come up again, right? You see what I mean? However, we do rewire, we do expand. We have more tolerance, more resilience in more situations.
Yeah, that is exactly what I wanted to hear, because that's how you build resilience. And not a lot of people actually talk about the nervous system. It's more about how do you respond in terms of verbally and words, rather than also having your body under control and being able to respond in a calm way, because that goes together. So I really loved this session. Thank you so much. I'm going just to close off for those who are not yet inside the EmpowerMe Hub or don't know where Karina is inside the classroom. I want to make sure you guys know where she is and that you can connect with her. And Karina is also doing one-to-one work, so she can be booked inside the EmpowerMe Hub, so that you can work through some situations and help you rewire some of the nervous system, I guess, challenges you might have. And yeah, thank you so much. I'm going to share a little bit where you can find her. So, right. And also a little bit just about the EmpowerMe Hub, and Karina's in there as well, which is really beautiful, because all the guest speakers are in one place, and we're building this community where we can help you not just with self-leadership, but also many different other topics. So I would really invite you to come and join us. And if you know anyone who is interested or does really need this support, then just tell them to come and join the community. We're going to make sure that the link is available somewhere under the video. So what the EmpowerMe Hub really is, basically, we understood, it's myself and Sharon Bowes, who's my business partner, we understood, especially through the pandemic, we understood what was going on. And obviously the pandemic was a big milestone for all of us. The world just all of a sudden kind of stopped and started to function in a different way. And I guess in that sense, our nervous system were also attacked, because, we were totally in freeze and flight mode all the time. And yeah, this causes things like stress and burnout and all of these things, lack of motivation, anxiety. We know all that, right? When we are in organizations, perhaps in a job where we feel we're not appreciated, we're not getting the opportunities that maybe others are getting, we're really battling the system, with maybe even dealing with toxic culture and politics, and we're feeling maybe there's no way out. So this is a bigger kind of picture here as to what we may be going through, and that's why we've created the EmpowerMe Hub, which will help you basically with anything that impacts performance, health, home life. Because when we're not happy at home, we're going to go to work, we're going to be miserable there as well. And if someone's making our work miserable, we're going to go home miserable, and we're going to impact our friends and family, right? So, and quite often when we are working, and I've been working in organizations, being senior leader there, and most of the time there was a well-being course and maybe a leadership course, but there wasn't anything that actually would connect the two and making sure that your home life and your work life, I wouldn't say quite in balance, or let's say in harmony, because there's never 100% balance. It's really about making sure that you can work on the things that you feel are not quite under control, or where we would like to have a bit more support, be it in your home life, be it in your work life, or anything in between. And that's really what we wanted to create as like a whole bundle. And of course, it may be that you're looking for the pay rise, right? You are maybe striving for that next level. Most people do, and they want the recognition. They want to increase their confidence without actually burning out. And that's why this bundle actually exists. So it's basically your all-in-one career and well-being and life community training hub. And what we promise is basically that in less than 30 days, you will already start seeing some of this progression and start closing some of the skill gaps you might have, so that you can actually earn more, get recognized. You can build this unshakable confidence, including the nervous system, right? Because that's one of the components here, your leadership presence, your self-leadership, and also somewhat restore the balance. If you're feeling burnt out, if you're feeling pulled and you're doing long hours and you just don't know how to manage the time, then this is also a place where we can help you with this. So it's really for you if you're tired of seeing less qualified colleagues pass you by, if you feel under-recognized, underpaid, or stuck in the wrong role, you want to earn more, step into leadership, and also have that life outside of work. And if you're ready just to grow, even yourself as a human being, and you just don't want to burn out in the process, or maybe you don't even know how to do that, right? Like Karina is is like an ideal example who can actually show you how you can grow and how you can tap into your way and how you can actually build that resilience from within. right? And it's quite often, if we wanted to do it ourselves, we just wouldn't be able to do it because we don't even know where to get started. We don't know the science behind it. And we need someone to hold us accountable to actually go through the transformation and then seeing the results. So just briefly, what we have inside the community, we've got all the training that will help you with that, but also we wanted to make it fun and interactive and very much implementation oriented. When you come into the hub, you get a clear pathway. So we'll get you through a 7-day jumpstart and then help you assess your goals and where you want to go and what the priorities are, because obviously there could be a lot of things that you could and should be doing, but actually want you to be very focused in your first 30 days. And then we'll give you accountability. And of course, the other thing is you can join as an individual, so you will be control of your own career, of your own well-being, of your own growth. Of course, you can also ask your employer to support you with the membership, or you could actually even ask your employer, or maybe this is great for your team or for the organization. We also cater for groups of people as well. You'll see once you're inside the hub, we also have corporate workshops. And like Karina, for example, is already doing corporate well-being workshops, and she could come in and support you along this way as well for a whole group, or maybe a course that goes over a couple of weeks, or a VIP day. So we can actually structure things like that as well. And I think the beauty as well, it's a community, right? We are actually sharing experiences. We're all going through similar things, and we can have conversations around that. So here are some of the tools that are already inside the classroom. We have career, multiple well-being, so mental, physical, emotional, and financial well-being topics, as well as team, self-leadership, and anything in between that fits home life, work life. That could be even parenting and love and relationships. So it's really everything under one banner. When you come into the community, this is what you would see. So I've just taken a screenshot. It's off social media, so this is a very safe space. And we really love the platform and the functionality and how we can interact. So we've got the community where you can network, have Q&As as well. If you have questions for our experts, you can actually post in there. You can connect with them as well. And this is really here for support and accountability. Then we also have a calendar. So there are regularly live events happening, like you get starter sessions. We have little sprints, 7-day sort of smaller sprints happening every so often, and just really help you with implementation and smaller bite-sized chunk of little projects, or giving you some more skills to close the gaps. And you will see all the live events on the calendar that you can add. And then here's a snapshot of the classroom. So when you get into the classroom, the first thing you will see will be the 7-day quest. So you will go through basically a 7-day setup where you can see what are your priorities and what you want to work on, and you will already unlock the first set of actions for you to take forward. So right now, this is available on a 7-day free trial. When you follow Karina's link here, the barcode is on the screen. You can just scan, grab the 7-day free trial, come inside the community, and you can just test run it. And you can also cancel anytime if you don't like it. But I think you're going to love it, because what we've created is so holistic. As I mentioned before, Karina, it's the whole human, and that's where we align so much, right? Any last words, anything that you want to say about the hub, because you've experienced it now too, and you're seeing what's happening inside? Feel free to share your comments. Oh, you're muted. Are you muted? Somehow I can't hear you. Strange.
No, it's just can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you.
My microphone just died. And I wasn't on school before, so it's actually, I'm now getting used to it, and I really, really like it. And I like that it's off the social media, as you said. It's nice to start connecting with people, and it's already lovely to get comments and questions in the hub. And I absolutely love the 360, the whole human. That's aligns very much with what I do. And it's so important. We cannot separate the life from work and from anything else. Everything is, it's foundational support that we need for everything. And it's brilliant to be able to find it in one place.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that was the whole idea, just to have this one place, and have also different voices, different speakers coming in, bringing on in their take on different things. And the beauty is we can also develop it with the members. We can ask the members, what is it that you would like to see? So we can get those speakers in, and you don't have to go and get many different memberships and pay that much money. So it's very affordable as well. So yeah, thank you so much for the feedback, and thank you for your fabulous contribution. We will live in the classroom. We'll make sure we link it as well, and so people will come in and find you also on the replay. Thank you.
And any questions, I am in the hub now, so people can come to me, ask me anything.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.